I don't think that's the song to be danced to. I'm not positive. Hey, it's an all-new episode of Great News with Kevin Ryder and Mike Catherwood. I'd like to start off the great news by talking about what's outside my door, which is sunny and maybe 80.
Oh,
calm.
Okay. Well, it's
beautiful
and sunny where I am. Mm-hmm. It's just there's this constant specter of a storm taking me away like Dorothy in goddamn Wizard of Oz. But as far as
how
like
bad is the wind in
it's
Austin?
amazing. I could show
Mike
you. Look here.
Near Austin. Yesterday,
if you want me to move
freezing.
the camera, I could show you the windows.
Right.
It's very sunny and beautiful. It's just literally tornadoes and crazy shit.
Love it. I love it. We do a podcast that we highlight normal people who are doing loving, amazing things that sort of restore your faith in humanity. And that's what this podcast is about. If somebody else needs it, maybe forward this to them. They could subscribe. You could subscribe and click on the little bell thing so you know when we post episodes, which is Monday and Thursday. And Michael always does a theme for us, an intro theme. And I usually request a musical styling.
Yes.
And I would like to suggest for the intro, Frank Sinatra. Also, I'd like you to get a bigger mic.
It's an angle. It's perspective, bro. You would understand that if you didn't believe in round Earth. If you understood the laws of perspective, you would know that the Earth is flat.
Isn't it intro? It's an intro. The show's about to begin, bro. Say hello to the happy, goodbye to the blue. Kevin and Mike are here to give you great news. Where's Marilyn Monroe? I need to get my dick sucked.
Wow, that's a start.
Courtney, don't make a face.
That's how you're going to start.
It's
Courtney
not like
should
I'm
make that
ripping
face.
on sick children. It's Marilyn Monroe. They used to pass her back and forth, he and JFK, like she was a shish kebab.
Okay. All right, my first story is about an NBA basketball star that plays for the Phoenix Suns currently, and his name is Bismack Biyombo, I believe. I think he took last year off because his dad. What's happening there?
A giant dog burst into my house.
Okay, you don't have any control over your dogs. That's another running theme. This guy took last year off because his dad was sick, and he ended up passing away last year. And he's returning to the NBA, and he's getting a salary of $1.3 million, which he's going to donate entirely to build a hospital in his hometown in Congo. He's
oh my God.
All of it to build a hospital. Isn't that crazy?
Okay.
Because you can't just go, I'm going to donate everything unless you're really financially sort of set up to do that.
Well, that was my question. If he donates 100% of his income this year, has he just been incredibly frugal? Like what?
He must have been. I mean, he has to set himself up to be able to do that. Yeah. But that's crazy. He's donating every single penny of it to a hospital in the name of his father, who passed away last year. Watch this video and you'll see a little bit about Bismarck.
Okay, so I've done a lot of interviews. Obviously, people have asked me what I was doing and what has happened. The reality of it is that while my dad was sick, I spent 45 days with him. And during that 45 days, some of those days I was home, and some of them I was in Turkey with him. Excuse me, I never give up on basketball. I love basketball too much, so I continued to work out. And I think once my dad passed, the love of the game kind of fall a little bit because it was my everything, you know, it was my friend's business partner, my mentor, and everything. One thing that really stick out of my mind is that every day I go to the hospital back home, to take care of him, I was always asking myself, what about these people that can take their family members out? So while I was trying to figure out how to find something that would motivate me this year, I remember one day I picked up the phone and called my agent and said the only way I'll do it this year was if we find a situation, one, that I'll fit in, and two, that will play for something. And I wanted to make this year about my dad because my dad spent most of his life making his life about me, my brothers, my sisters, and servicing people. This year, really, I wanted and I had the desire, and my motivation was to make it about him.
The question is, what's driving you to play this season?
What I told my agent was my salary for this year would be going to the construction of an hospital back home to give hope to the hopeless at home, and those individuals that cannot take their family members out. Want to be able to give them better conditions so that they can somewhat have hope that their loved ones will be able to leave and see.
Be able to leave and see the inside of a hospital. He's just trying to get a hospital so that people in his hometown have the availability, which is, I mean, I don't want to say it's the antithesis of an NBA player. It's an antithesis of most athletes.
It's the antithesis of what we perceive professional
Yes.
athletes, high level,
Yes.
highly paid athletes to be. Yeah.
Yes, and he's and donating 100% to building a hospital, which is an amazing story.
That is fantastic, man. What a great story to start off with. Wow. That's very humbling to even kind of, wow. That's awesome. My hat's off to him. And also it gives you perspective on, I don't think, I certainly understood what you meant by it's not what we think of when we think of NBA players, but most NBA players are Americans. And even though a tremendous amount of professional athletes in this country came up with hard times, I don't think you can understand what someone who grew up in the Congo went through. And so it's just
a whole different world. Yeah.
It's a very beautiful story. This one too, Kevin, I'm going to say we have done countless amounts of stories in our 80 something, 90 something episodes.
We've done 90 episodes?
Yes, something like that. We're almost to 100.
How about that? Let's just start saying 200.
How about that?
Sorry, go ahead.
How about that? This might be the most heroic of the heroic things I've seen on Great News. This is so crazy that I almost I had to really, really, really vet this to make sure that it was real, because you can't believe that a human being would be this brave and selfless. But there is a young woman who is a Florida State trooper. She's like a state cop in Florida. Her name is Tony Shuck. She got an alert or a bulletin from the police station that there was a drunk driver, a very dangerous, erratic drunk driver coming towards a 10K race in Tampa.
Wow.
Okay, so there's thousands and thousands of people running this race throughout the streets, and she's getting this alert that there's this wild drunk driver, and she is kind of confused with what to do because she can gauge with the GPS and where she's being told the coordinates are and how close this man is. She doesn't have time to throw up roadblocks or strip spikes. She gets in the opposite lane on the freeway and maneuvers her car to hit him head on to protect the rest of the people in the race. Watch this video. It's truly unbelievable.
Hit him head on.
Yeah. So she sees him coming and she's like, okay, I gotta maybe a little left, a little right.
Oh my God.
Boom. Oh.
Is
It's
she
hard to
still
watch.
alive?
She's not only still alive, but she came away with minor injuries.
Oh my God.
I mean,
How?
that is. Whenever.
There's no way the police department would say, all right, here's what you do in this situation. This is just her.
No freaking way. No freaking way. But how badass is she to the rest of the cops in her police department?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's one of those things, like, every time we see these.
Her last thought has to be, oh, I'm going to die. Yeah, this is my final act on Earth. Wow.
And every time, I think both of us and all dumb guys do this, when we see these insane acts of heroism, you always go like, would I do that? I might do that. I don't know. I don't know if I'd have the balls to go head on to a guy to save other lives. I don't
know that it would even come to your mind. Like, that's too crazy to even consider.
Right.
Wow.
Well,
that's
Tony
unbelievable. Yeah, no kidding. That is great news.
It is fantastic. I mean, and the fact that she's okay and that they apprehended the guy, he didn't die. I mean, granted, he's the last on my priority list right now, but still, like, everyone makes it out okay. That is so amazing. That
is amazing. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. You're right. I've never seen a story like that. My next story, a couple of years ago, a woman named Joy Milne made headlines when scientists discovered that she could literally smell Parkinson's on someone. That there was some type of odor. She describes that as oily, but she could literally say, this person I think has Parkinson's, and then they would test him and they had Parkinson's. That's a thing that happened. A woman can smell Parkinson's.
Dude.
Since then, researchers have been trying to build devices that could diagnose disease through odor compounds on the skin. They didn't even think about this, and they were like, oh, you could actually smell Parkinson's on somebody. And researchers have developed a portable, artificially intelligent olfactory system. They call it an e-nose. And the e-nose can sense, I'm not kidding. The electronic
That's a stupid name.
It is.
It's a stupid name.
Could someday diagnose the disease in a doctor's office, which is unbelievable.
Did she get struck by lightning or like a radioactive spider bite her? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what?
When I found the story, it was just like, oh, remember that woman a few years ago that could smell Parkinson's? And I went, what are you talking about? Yeah. And so Parkinson's disease, of course, causes motor systems such as tremors and rigidity and trouble walking and non-motor problems like memory. And this kind of thing, if it's treated early, can make all the difference in the world. And being able to sniff it out literally is crazy. Shut your dog up.
That's Harry. He's normally the good one.
Great. I'm talking about an e-nose where they could smell Parkinson's on a human being. And I wonder, by the way, if that means that there's a way that science will find out to be able to smell other diseases and give you a heads up on other diseases that are.
Well, they've had dogs who can. There's dogs that can smell certain diseases on humans. So I don't know, man. Maybe, who knows what this opens doors to. I'm more fascinated by how did she develop this ability, which is remarkable, but B, like, how do you even notice that? Like, it's like the canary in the coal mine. Who is the first canary that they're like, hey, this thing, asbestos, right?
Am I right? No, I don't know. I didn't get into exactly how she knew, but also when you smell something on another human, how do you interpret that? I wouldn't interpret that as a neurological disease. I would interpret that as smell. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they got to that point, but
I have to interview her. I also need to know, what does Parkinson's smell like? Is it BO? Is it garlic?
It's not BO. She said it as oily is the only way that she described it. But I don't know.
That's right, bro. That's right, bro. I have Parkinson's.
Nope.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah.
Next story. Beautiful. Within great tragedy, always human nature shows up. We've seen it throughout, at least in modern history, we've seen it. And when things are going terribly in some part of the world, a lot of people come together to try to help. And with what's going on in the Ukraine, we've seen a tremendous outpouring of people just being so giving and charitable. in Poland, which is where a lot of refugees from the Ukraine are camping out right now, Polish mothers went to a train station.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? I like that you call it camping out. It's much worse than that.
Yeah,
they're not camping out.
But check, no, they're not. Where Polish mothers have, Ukrainian mothers have fled with their children. A lot have. Polish mothers took it upon themselves to take strollers to this train station and leave them there, just in a huge procession of strollers, so that when
leave them there forever.
For these Ukrainian women to take.
Wow.
If they, because they're coming with no warning, they're just like, get your children and get the F out. So when they arrive in Poland, they have
camping.
They're going glamping.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but that was ridiculous.
No, that was a terrible thing for me to say. It was aggressively insulting to call it camping out.
But these women just dropped off the strollers and said somebody else will need them.
They are going to need them a lot more than us right now, because they knew that these women were fleeing with their children with no warning. So I thought very, very beautiful.
That is very beautiful. I love that. The next story, I know Mike has kids and I have kids, and
yes.
Anybody that loves kids will worship this story. There is an elementary school that set up a hotline, and you call it if you're angry or you're frustrated or you don't know how to process things, and kindergarten kids give you advice. They give you life advice. Kindergarten kids. It has a menu where it says if you're feeling frustrated, press 1. If you're feeling angry, press 2. And you get a message from a little kid.
I'm calling that today. I'm calling that today, and I'm going to record it.
Listen to some of these.
When you're feeling mad, you should take 3 deep breaths and think of things that make you happy. The thing that makes me happy is when and I think of happy things will happen in the future, like going to a friend's house or a cousin's house. Bye.
If you're frustrated, just take 5 minutes off.
If you're frustrated, you can always go to your bedroom, punch your pillow or cry on it, and just go scream outside. If you're nervous, go get your wallet and spend it on ice cream and shoes. If you feel mad or frustrated, you can do what you want to do best, or you can do flips on the trampoline.
If you feel mad, please just do something you like. Do something inspires you. Do something to make you feel better.
If you're sad or angry, go get a cookie, a smoothie, or an ice cream.
Yes, agreed. I agree. I
did not know that my wife was a kindergartner, because I heard the girl say, if you're upset, just buy shoes and ice cream. And I'm pretty sure that was my wife.
That is hilarious. The phone number is there and it works. It was the brainchild of a local art teacher, Jessica Martin, in the town of Healdsburg, California. And they received 300 to 400 calls a day for that hotline.
Wow.
How great is that?
It's a beautiful idea. It's absolutely a reasonable thing to do, because children haven't been burdened with the way that we overthink things, or the way that we make things more complicated than they necessarily need to be. They can bring such clarity to things, almost because of their naivete. And you sometimes, my daughter will talk to me, and I'll open up, not about like super serious stuff, but I'll just say certain things, and she'll be like, "Well, what, you shouldn't do that, and you should do this instead." I was like,
she's got a point.
Can't really see the argument there. That's a good point.
Kids do seem to see it a little bit more clearly than most, but that is a hotline that you can call again at 707-998-8410.
I have to. I'm not going to prank call them like horribly.
Prank call them. Don't do that.
But I'm going to prank call them.
I think it's a recording, so I don't think you'll be able to prank call them.
Because I was going to prank call them in like
live kids 24/7 on the phones, answering the phones, going, "Hi, can we help you?"
That's a good point. Yeah, like kindergartners at like 3 a.m. No, but I would have like prank called them in like a appropriate kid way. I would have been like, I can't stop farting. I just fart all the time, and it's embarrassing.
If a kid took that call, he'd start laughing. He or she would start laughing.
Let's keep the theme of children alive. Again, also the theme of the fallout from the Ukraine. In Romania, Dateline Romania, this is from USA Today. Young Ariana is turning 7 years old, but she is in a refugee camp in Romania because she had to flee the Ukraine. The people collectively at this refugee camp got together and threw her a birthday party with like makeshift birthday hats and cakes and candles and the whole deal, and like a looks like a Jimmy rigged bouncy house. And I just was like, that is great news. That's human spirit being great right there.
Yeah, agreed. That's
like Romanians too.
You expect less from Romanians? Is that your point?
That's where Dracula's from. Come on.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Wow.
Aww.
To be able to celebrate in the middle of glamping like they are?
Glamping in Romania.
That's amazing. That is amazing. You see stories like that out of Romania, out of Poland, out of all the surrounding countries near
the neighboring countries. It's true.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Did they have a media expert there? Because it's Ukrainians in Romania, and yet they're like, we got to sing in English. It won't get as viral if we sing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems odd that they're like, happy birthday to you, happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? It's
yeah, they are singing in English. That was surprising to me too. But I assume that there are like welfare workers, people that are there to volunteer their time to help and to take those videos and to get the word out. I assume there's a lot of that going on because it's just one of those situations.
And Romanians for sure. I don't know much about the Ukraine, but my wife's brother married a Romanian woman, like straight from, and they're very intellectual. Like, it doesn't strike me as odd that they probably all spoke English.
And but, 4 other languages.
In like 7 other, exactly. Yeah. But it's a very kind of like high intellect place in the world. But there probably was like a Brit or an American, like UNICEF worker that was like, listen, guys, you want a couple 100,000 hits? Sing in your native tongue. You want a couple million?
Don't know a couple 100,000.
You want a couple million? Let's cook. Let's go. Let's step it up a notch.
Could I just take 1 second to say Happy Birthday is the saddest song that exists in the English language, because everybody starts singing and they're all excited. Stick with me here.
Okay.
Everybody start Happy Birthday, and then the second line, Happy Birthday, and then the people who can't sing start singing, and then it just fades out into a disaster every single time. Sounds great when the first person starts it, and then by the end it's a sad, sad little funeral, if you will, a dirge.
I see where you're going.
And I'm right.
But I mean, I can definitely think of sadder songs.
Yes, but not songs that are supposed to be happy. Songs that are supposed to be celebrations that turn into dirges in 12 seconds. All right, listen.
But what about like Warren Zevon songs where like he knew he was going to die any moment? You know what I'm saying? Like, he did a whole album where he's like keep me in your heart for a while.
Listen, it's just my personal take on Happy Birthday, but
99 Luftballons.
Yes, of course.
The saddest song ever, and those fucking Germans, they trick us because it sounds happy, like and it's about the world blowing up because the radars think that a red balloon is a nuclear warhead, and then everybody's dead. Fuck that.
I mean, yeah. Okay, all right. I'm down with that. I'm down with 99 balloons as well. That's not good. All right. As we said, you can subscribe to this podcast if you would like,
Please do.
because it gives you some balance in your life, and that kind of balance is important, especially mentally, and especially in times like this. All right, Mike is going to sing an outro as the guy that sings "Double Dutch Bus." That guy.
Yeah, gives her my seduces and super than bad. It's an outro, she bear them bots and did some down. And it's an outro, charging disser, kisser, kisser. So do the big man do the blues, cause Kevin and Mike have been kisser, but bizzer, boo.